Hello, Graceless Hippo fans. I'm your host, Graceless Hippo. This is City Skylines. City Skylines. I'm going to do a disaster video today after I've completed this mission to get to 100,000 people, currently at 93,000. So, the idea of the mission was, it's a tsunami-stricken region. I have walled up a large area of the seabed and pumped it all out, and I've put lots of people in it. So what could possibly go wrong with that? I'm at 93,000 at the moment. 95,000 even. And once I've finished getting up to 100,000, the mission was try and make it to 100,000, which was not easy on this map. It's taken me about 3 or 4 days to get this level, 96,000 now. So once I've got it up to 100,000, that will be the mission officially complete. And when I've done that, I can just destroy the lot. The tyrant in me is dying to come out. This place has been a labour of love for days, and I think it's only fair to once I've got it to this level to destroy it completely afterwards. So at the moment I'm just putting in a metro system. You know, I still have to tinker with it in the way that I have to. 99,000, we're nearly here. So the idea of the metro system is I'm putting in a counterclockwise rotating metro system on this part of the map to link up with the other parts. Is it the main one? I can't remember at this stage. It's been a couple of days since I actually played this bit. No, it's not the main one, it's the side one that I linked. This is the linking metro system that I had put into the basin area of the map, which also joins up with one of the elevated sections of my city. So public transport being the main way it gets around. So you can see on that system it shows the number of stops, how many people are at the stops, how many people are on the trains, number of trains obviously, number of trains on top, stops underneath, and the maximum number of people it can carry on each train, which is on the top left of the graphic there. And you can fiddle with it. You can fiddle with it by reducing or increasing the budget for it from 5% all the way up to 500%, and obviously that will change the number of carriages you have and the number of people you can carry. You can also fiddle with it in the budget section of the game itself, in the economy panel, and that also changes the number of trains and carriages and things that it puts on. There's a lot of tinkering you can do with this game. I'm just watching now. I like to just watch the metros go round to make sure that they're flowing properly, that they're not holding each other up. Because if you end up with too many metros on one line, you end up with just queues. There you can see I've added loads of metros on that system, and you can get away with it on a really long system. So we're just waiting for it to tick up to 10. Not 10,000, 100,000. I like to just watch circuits and make sure it's all working properly. And this is all the seabed that we built on to create the extra land. I just walled up a massive area, 3 to 5 tiles worth, that I'd walled up around the outside and used those pumps that are now disabled to pump out the entire area. It took about half a day in real time to do, and it's not as hard or long-winded as you think it is. And there we go. We won this scenario. Happy days. Happy days. That was hard won, that was. That was really hard won. And I did enjoy that. I'm going to be going back to that scenario. But in the meantime, after this, I set about bringing about some disasters on my island that I just so lovingly created. So for that, you can go into the disaster panel, which is on the right hand side. I saved it first, obviously, because, well, why not? And you can select disasters, or so I thought. So this one is a tsunami. I tried selecting it a few times, and I thought, well, maybe that didn't work. Not done this disasters many times, so I couldn't decide whether or not it was accepting it or what it was doing there. So I tried it a few times. I tried several different ones. I exited the game. I came back into the game. I went into options to see if I could enable disasters in options, and for some reason I couldn't get it to do disasters at all. So I thought, well, maybe if I go onto the sea, will it just do a tsunami here? If it allows me to do it, was the reason it wasn't letting me do a tsunami because I wasn't targeting the sea. Tried it in several places. Was not going to have it. Look at me fumbling around. Do it on the ferry. Get the ferry. Get the ferry. Get the ferry. Get the ferry! No. 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 Give up, woman. It's not working. It's not working, is it? Look at my beautiful city with all its disabled pumps. There's a reason I'm leaving the pumps there, which we'll come to in a bit. Yeah, trying to go into options. Enable in options. Where is it? Can't find it. No, 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 no. Give up, woman. Give up. Give up. Right, so in order to get around the failed attempt to get it to do disasters, I decided to take a different tack. That's my panel of disasters that you can do. You can have forest fires, earthquakes, sinkholes, meteorite strikes, and a few other things I can't remember now off the top of my head. Oh yeah, tidal wave, obviously. Yeah, still trying to initiate disasters. And it doesn't want to do it. Doesn't want to do it at all. It's not having it. Give up. Look how pretty it is though. Look how pretty I got that city. And we're at easily over 100,000 occupants now. So, this is how you do it if you can't get disasters to work. I just thought, right, well, I'm going to get rid of the seawall I created. There we go, just delete it. So I'm using the soil leveling tool. I've selected the seabed as the level I want it to, level 2. And I've just taken out the whole of the seawall, every bit of it. I'm a terrible tyrant. I'm a terrible tyrant. You should never let me in charge of any city. Look at that. I paused it there. And here it goes. And this is my man-made tidal wave. Whoa!
Warning. Experts predict an earthquake could hit the area soon.
What? Earthquake? What? Oh no. Did my disaster things actually work? I tried about 20 of them on this. But okay. I've also got my own man-made tidal wave working on the area. So that's about half my sunken bit covered in water now. Whoa! There's the earthquake. And that's a magnitude 10 earthquake. Which incidentally I've never seen a magnitude 10 on this game before. And that's displaced some water as well, look. So earthquakes in the game have a tendency to open up cracks and destroy roads and things, as you'd expect on an earthquake. And this being a magnitude 10, it does fairly big disruptions. Look at that go. And is it overtopping my seawall there? Well, that area is flooding as well. This area is completely flooded. And the sea level is back to normal on this part of the map now. That's going to take some pumping out. It's funny how the water takes a while for it to go through, but okay. What else is happening with the earthquake? The water is going to overtop that wall. So all that's inundated too. And we have a fairly large disruption to the road to deal with. I do have disaster services. I've got 2 disaster service units available at the moment. And because of my disruption to the earthquake disruption has disconnected my sewage network from this part of the map, which is why it's showing the sewage warning as well as flood warning symbols there. I mean, obviously it's going to show flood warnings, but on the other part of the map, just north there, you can see there's sewage warning, which is the reason for that is the earthquake. Disconnected my sewage pipes to my sewage outlet, and now everywhere else is going to start complaining too. The population's dipping fairly sharply already, and we have the second part of our seabed map to go. No electricity, no water, and a massive sea. That's my fusion plant on the left hand side. That's been inundated, hence the no electricity. I mean, this would basically be a Fukushima incident at this point. So they're effectively cut off. There's no way for them to get out now. The metro won't be working, and the roads are cut off at that point, because the only roads they can get to is that central highway that's now the feeder roads for that are now inundated. So really this is just a case of waiting to see what happens and how it all gets affected by the inundation, and how long the inundation takes, and how long it takes my population to go to 0 in that area. Not long, obviously. This is basically I've made the sandcastle, and now I'm stamping all over it. It's me stamping all over the sandcastle. What would be madness is to destroy all this and then decide to reinstate it all afterwards. That would be a monumentally stupid thing to do. Anyway. This is nearly the whole area of my sunken seabed inundated that I have built on. Bird's eye view there of the entire area. Now we have bright red icons for everything. Well, yep, that's going to happen. Population is dipping and dipping and dipping. There's people actually on the slip roads driving into the water. People driving into the water? What's that about? The AI is a bit at some points. Water and electricity over there, that's a surprise. Why are they knackered? They shouldn't have been affected. Is it because of the earthquake?
The Coast Guard is warning of a tsunami approaching the area.
What?
Residents should avoid roads and waterfronts.
There's a tsunami. There's a tsunami as well as what I've just done. The water's not quite up to the end of the sunken area. Okay. There's a tsunami on its way. I can't see which direction it's coming from yet.
The Coast Guard is warning of a tsunami approaching the area. Residents should avoid roads and waterfronts.
I mean, I tried to set off a ton of different disaster scenarios, but I thought I couldn't get any of them to work. So I have no idea what's happening now. I mean, this is a good 20 minutes after I tried to set them off. So maybe this is just random stuff in the game, but it's mostly left me to it since about a few game years into it. Tea.
Warning of a tsunami approaching the area. Residents should avoid roads and waterfronts.
I just couldn't work out where it was coming from. But it says it's a category 10. Never experienced a category 10 tsunami either. I have a tsunami proof island. We'll see if it's actually tsunami proof after this. There's my tsunami struck city skyscrapers. My sunken pumping stations, which are all turned off to save noise complaints from the neighbours. It's important to consider noise pollution when you're flooding your neighbourhood. Lots of deaths happening on the other island as well. Everyone goes bananas, don't they, when there's a disaster like this? I'm not really sure why they're not collecting dead people in the other places that have not been affected by it, but okay. Look, dead people! Pick up the dead people, crematoria! That's my first sunken experiment. That first one is in the top left corner there. It took about 1 hour to drain after I'd completed a seawall made of mud raised around the edge, and that's about 1 tile in size. That's more or less completely flooded. It's not exactly up to the full level yet, but it'll eventually get there. Well, I'm sure it will, especially once the tsunami hits. Not sure I've made it easier on myself doing it this way, but okay. You know how I said only an idiot would try and reinstate a city after creating this type of disaster?
The Coast Guard is warning of a tsunami approaching the area.
You're looking at an idiot.
Avoid roads and waterfronts.
There it is, look, there it is at the top. You see it coming in there. See those warning symbols on the road on the left hand side? That's where it's coming in. Here we go, look. I was thinking that's not very high. Why is it calling that a category 10? It's taken ages as well.
Guard is warning of a tsunami approaching the area. Residents should avoid roads and waterfronts.
There you go. That's its first official hit in my city. It's hit a fire sensor or an earthquake sensor or something.
The tsunami has struck the city.
She needs to wind her neck in, that one. So, I mean, this looks all fairly straightforward. Oh, it's overtopped one of the partition walls on the east side of my drained area. So it definitely overtops walls. It's exciting, isn't it? So it's playing more sound effects of devastation, but it can't be any more devastated than it is already. Although it is, that's quite dramatic, isn't it? So I just saw a helicopter fly into the tidal wave. So those are my disaster recovery helicopter things, and they just caught them several times throughout the game, flying into the water. And there's people driving into the tsunami. I suppose that happens in real life. Unlucky for them. So that is my normal raised bit. Now I've speeded up time slightly to show you the disaster of the rest of the place. Second bit's already gone. Gone! It's dead. It's dead, Dave. It's gone. But it's overtopping my walls all across the map. So that is my tsunami-proof island being tested currently. And hooray! It is tsunami-proof! We hope. Everything else isn't. And I used that to save my progress in the mission because it kept rolling tidal waves over me at the start of the scenario. And if your population goes down to 0, that's it. You've lost the mission. So I used that island to stop myself losing. It's over top there as well. It's over top everything. And all my pump stations aren't working either. And this is my final island. It's the first one. I did my strategy of walling off and pumping out, and it's over top that as well. I wonder if it's going to set any more disasters off. Because I'd started loads. I made them all category 10. Seems to be petering out a bit now. So that's more or less the original level of the water in this part of the map. And we're down about 70,000 people. The tidal wave is still going up over the side. Beginning to get worried here. Because only an idiot would decide at this point that they're going to reinstate the city after deliberately destroying it. Yeah, you're looking at an idiot. I started off by putting the seawall back that I destroyed to put the water in across on the first bit. Reinstate the seawall, get the pumps going. Should only take a couple of hours to pump it out. It'll be fine. Easy. It'll be easy. So at every point, the disaster response units go to every building to clear them and to make them ready for rebuilding. So that's the blue and red symbols that you see there. And each one, you have to click on it to reinstate it. And it costs money. Fortunately, I had quite a lot of money to start with on this. I didn't have a lot of money by the end of it. There was so much micromanagement to do here. Lots and lots of roads needed to be repaired. Sewage pipes needed reconnecting. Pumps needed moving into the inside bit of my sea to get it drained again. This draining the sea took a lot longer the second time round than it took the first time round. A lot longer. I ended up putting a lot of pumps on it. And it said, you see the level of the water there at the top of the pumps that I left in situ. It said they were all active and pumping, so I left them where they were. And I don't think they were active. And this is a lot later on in the game where a lot of it's been pumped away. That's on my first island. That's about the size of a tile. More micromanagement, reinstating things, going back every so often to see the level on the water tanks in the big section of sea. It was gradually going down, but it wasn't happening very fast. And everything, once I've repaired the roads, all of the public transport routes reinstate themselves, with some exceptions, and this was one of those exceptions. It looked so complicated, that beige route, that I couldn't work out what it was supposed to be doing. I thought, well, okay, if I put the roads back, that should sort it out. Normally, putting the roads back fixes it, but I couldn't work out where the roads had been. So I just ended up deleting that one. Back to the water pump levels. It's gradually going down. Oh, the other thing I decided to do was put in more disaster response units, because it was taking a long time for my 2 existing units to get to every building on the map. Obviously, because there's so many, it would take a long time. There's only 3 helicopters per disaster unit. And there's I think there's cars as well that go out to areas that they can get to by road. I added more than that in the end. I think I had 8 units on that little island. But once I'd put more units in, it really speeded up the recovery of the city. But I quite enjoyed this bit because I watched them all go off and go back in the sea. Just disappear in the sea. So the water level's definitely receding. There's some of my other pumps that I put on the job. So that building is about halfway drained. Did take a long time, a really long time. It took me about 3.5 hours after the disaster proper to get that sunken seabed back into a state where I could start repairing it. But that was the first sight of dry land, which I was very happy about. There, look. Oh, baby, dry land. And that's how fast my pumps were pumping, that it was actually creating a river in between the islands from one part of the sunken sea area to the other part of the sunken sea area. More dry land. Oh, baby. Look at it. It's so beautiful. It took me so long to get to this point. I accept that it was madness to do this. But you are looking at somebody who likes actually doing this kind of thing, even though it's really, really in depth. Yes! They've started building! In the sunken bit! Yes! In its face! I did it! Now it's just a case of reinstating everything. More micromanagement. More beautiful micromanagement. More. It's so beautiful. It's a thing of joy. Can't tell you how much I enjoy doing this tsunami scenario. I'm gonna have to go back to it, obviously. I've been Graceless Hippo. You can get me on Twitter at Joe_40, at JO_FORTY. You can get me on Twitch every night at 7 PM on Twitch/Graceless Hippo. I've been Graceless Hippo. This has been City Skylines. Thank you very much for watching. Catch me again soon on something else mad, I'm sure. Thank you very much for watching. Good night.